Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, hello. This is going to be a group energy healing live stream. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay. This will be an energy healing where I heal 130 people in 11 different countries. And you can watch and follow along and heal yourself at the same time if you wish. First, there'll be an intro discussion, and then there'll be the healing, which will be the bulk of the live stream, and then there'll be a short Q&A at the end, which hopefully is closely relevant to the theme. We'll see. The theme of this healing and the one before it, it's a set of 2 healings that people purchased 2 months ago. Called the May Twin Set, and it's a set of 2 healings. This is the second in the set of 2. Today is Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023. 5/23/23. So the theme is enthusiasm, inspiration, and abundance. And earlier this month, the theme of the 3 healings that we did, the triplet set, was enthusiasm and inspiration. So with this one, we're adding abundance. And it's a deeper version, I think, than we usually do. So I'll get into that in the discussion part, which we're about to do. Oh, good. Thank you for the confirmation. Someone says, I can see and hear you. Thanks for the cute emojis. Someone says, hey, Janet, I can see and hear you from sunny Las Vegas. 89 with a high of 97 today. Wow. You know, today here is perfect gardening weather, but we'll see if I fit any of that in today. Yesterday, I was able to fit in a lot of gardening. It was only in the 60s, which, yeah, is pretty cool. Maybe unseasonably cool. I don't know. But anyway, I was able to do some work moving wood chips. I weeded this part of a slope that we have, and I carried the buckets of wood chips up the slope to put the wood chips on the slope. So by no means did I do the whole slope, but I did a section of it that I had been wanting to do probably for the last 9 months. So I think that's directly related to the work that we've been doing. And I did get some other people in their surveys that had similar experiences where they were cleaning or organizing or, you know, kind of getting ready for the future. And so it's good stuff. It's possible, you know, some people, they don't feel, well, some people are like sort of, I think, maybe splitting hairs about what enthusiasm and inspiration is. Like one person on their survey, their first survey of the set, or was it the third of last set, whatever it is this month, they said, I don't yet feel inspiration or enthusiasm, but I am excited about, you know, blah, blah, blah. Just like, okay, enthusiasm, excitement, isn't that kind of the same thing? Inspiration, they're all like little cousins. But anyway, so, but it's all incremental. So don't worry if you don't yet feel like, wow, you know, what a difference. For example, sometimes it's just being consistent enough with your 4 essentials, you know, the grounding or repair, chakra repair, creative ring repair. And then, you know, doing at least some of the key techniques, theme-related techniques that we've been doing. Because sometimes, you know, people, they're just not used to doing their 4 essentials regularly enough. So they get too beat up, you know, and whacked. And obviously you're not going to feel really inspired if, you know, half your chakras just got damaged by some coworker throwing energy at you, you know. So obviously, yes, do the 4 essentials regularly. So sometimes that's really the difference, that people are realizing like, oh, wow, I feel this way because I got whacked and I'm going to repair my aura, you know. Like, two people that did have very emotional experiences since the last healing. It was really only two people that I know of. Their creative rings were like smashed. So obviously we're gonna do creative ring repair. That's one of the 4 essentials, which we always do. But just a heads up, if you feel like if things are very dramatic in your mind, check some chakra. Check if you need chakra repair. Check if you need creative ring repair. Check if you need aura repair. You might need one and not the other. You know. So anyway, okay. So, oh, someone says, hi Janet, can see and hear you in foggy San Francisco. 56 Fahrenheit. Yeah, kind of like us. Maybe it's a West Coast cool front. So this is hi Janet from sunny Chicago. How about that? Yeah, so we're gonna get warm again later, but then it'll get cool again. So I feel like my prayers are being answered for cooler weather, for me to be able to do, you know, physical stuff, more physical, like the lifting of the wood chips. It's a lot of like upper body work, and I'm not the strongest. I could get stronger, but anyways, so it's easier to do the lifting of buckets of wood chips with and carrying them up a slope with when it's only in the 60s. It's much easier. So that's exciting. But anyway, okay, so now so now I want to overview the theme, and I have some like thoughts about it that are big picture, and I think might help others too. So I'm going to timestamp like this part. So we'll call it the overview part. So the overview, you know, yes, the theme is enthusiasm, inspiration, and abundance, right? But how do you get there? You know, I mean, we have done literal abundance work in the past and literal work on, you know, like you can clear energy blocks in the way, or maybe you have a device that's in the way of your abundance or something, you know, so you can remove that stuff. But at the root of it, the more present you are, the more everything works, including your inspiration, including your abundance and enthusiasm. So that's sort of where we're working, like at the third healing of the triplet set, and these two, it's much deeper level. And we're looking at, okay, well, what is too much for you? Let's address that. You know, because if there's just stuff that's just too much in your life, then obviously that's going to get in the way of how good you feel. It's going to impact how good you feel. And also the stuff that was too much in your life before, and how did that impact you? And let's undo those effects so that there's more of you here to manifest abundance and to feel enthusiastic and inspired and literally, you know, make progress on your path. So, we had done unprocessed stress pots, which is a funny, it's just sort of odd technique name, but it's just some image the angel showed me that you can have, and I have my pot near me now, you can have, it's not literal, it's like a good, really effective metaphorical way of imagining your unprocessed stress that you just, you know, stuff happened and you just haven't been able to fully process it yet, but life happens, more happens, and you just have to keep going, right? And so you do have some level of reserves where that unprocessed stress can be without overwhelming you, but those reserves are limited and they can fill up, and then something else new happens, and even if it's not a big thing, your stress pots start overflowing and you're like, wow, this is all too much. So you can actually imagine, you know, unprocessed stress pots, like you have a bunch of pots, you know, and this unprocessed stress that you haven't gotten yet to, you haven't cleared it, you haven't grounded, healed yourself from it. You just imagine which ones are full or partially full, and you know, ground them with red grounding, bring up the red earth energy, use gold light, and you empty your stress pots, your unprocessed stress pots. And that is very effective, and that just helps you to kind of cope with the present way better. And get over things that were, not catastrophic, but, they just been building up, right? So it gets, clears the slate a bit, So there's that, and then we did 2 big energy blocks that are interconnected either by someone else's energy or your own resistance or something. And so they're just not clearing. And it's like that also can give you this feeling of like, okay, life is too much, or this day is too much, or this year has been too much, so clearing those. We'll repeat that again. Clearing these 2 big energy blocks, and that may be a lasting thing. Both of those things may be a lasting thing that we just add in. We'll see. But I'm leaning towards that just because they're pretty effective. But anyway, so then what do you do about the things that were already too much in the past that have sort of left their mark on you, so to speak? What is that? What is that? These events that were too much in the past, too much to handle, right? So, okay, last healing in this set, the first of the 2 on Sunday 2 days ago, we started addressing that in a big way. We addressed 2 different styles of that. One is where part of you goes down a side road on your path, so you get a little lost. And that could just be subconscious, or it could be conscious, that there's some idea that you have, but it doesn't truly serve you, but at the time you have no idea. It's just later in retrospect, like a decade from now, you'd be like, yeah, that wasn't the best move, but so anyway, those are side roads that part of you can get sidetracked, and it could be, like I said, purely subconscious, just like you just end up wasting time and energy or money, doing things that ideally you wouldn't have done. It doesn't serve you as much as possible. It doesn't help you to be as stable and as flowing and as happy and fulfilled as possible. Because that's your spiritual path. Being on your spiritual path is the best for you. I mean, it's part of like your life planning that you did in heaven with the angels and very high level angels to figure out what was truly best for you in this life. Best for your learning, but also best for, ultimate fulfillment and joy and all that. So anyway, so those were side roads, and we started to clear blocks so that you can get back that energy. That's sort of sidetracking you on your side roads, right? And so clear the blocks so that part of you can come back, right? So we're going to do more of that today, but we're going to enhance it in a way that I'm about to explain. But then we also did scattering events, which is a little similar. It's like something happened, it was too much, and part of you just tuned out and went far off, like bye-bye. You hid in a past life, or you just tuned out, but part of your energy went far, far away. So with that, it's like there's less of you here. So that can translate into less strong boundaries. It can translate into not really knowing what you want in life, like sort of a numbness where you might otherwise have inspiration. You don't know what you like, stuff like that. It can just make you less connected with your body, which can lead to, illnesses and stuff. And so anyway, what did those 2 things have in common? Those 2 things in common, the side road stuff and the scattering events, those things have in common that they're both you splitting off from yourself, you on your path, right? So there's you on your spiritual path, but then, part of you tuned out and went far away, or a part of you went down a side road. So they're both split off events. And for this healing, we're going to work them all at once, all split off events. Because as I was looking at it and I was studying results from surveys, so thank you very much for filling out surveys, letting me know how you're doing. I realized like, oh yeah, we could also heal that, or we could also clear that in that situation. So I think if we just deal with them as split off events, all of them, the tune out ones and the side road ones, we're gonna give you a more thorough experience and a more gentle experience. So And essentially, how are we going to handle split off events? So you don't really have to know when or how you split off. A lot of it is past life, though. Not all of it, of course, but some of it could be this life, and you remember a certain age where you're like, oh, I bet that was a split off event. I bet that was like a split off event every week, you know. But there could be parts from this life that you don't realize, you know, how much it impacted you, you know, and those could be split off events. But there could be a lot of them from past lives, and so you came into this life with only a certain amount of your energy moving forward on your path, and the rest is like off in different places, either tuned out or on a side road. And so it doesn't mean that your spiritual path is any less perfect for you in this life. It just means there's less of you here. And so the more you bring yourself back and heal and unblock and all that, then the more the better you feel, the more stable you feel, the less likely you'd be prone to fear and anxiety, and you know, racing thoughts and all those kind of imbalances. It just doesn't like fix everything, but it would give you much more of a sense of stability and safety to have much more of you here. But you know, like I said, that situation could be very old, like from lifetimes ago. So it doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong, of course. You know, split off events, they're just, you know, life happens. You know, and sometimes life is too much. And so what's the difference between a split off event that makes you go, part of you go down a side road, or a split off event that makes part of you tune out? Typically it's the level of intensity of what you were unable to clear in the moment. So say you're, you know, you're pretty good at clearing energy, but that was a big split off event for you. Maybe part of you goes down a side road. You know, maybe you don't know how to clear energy in a certain lifetime. You know, you don't have even subconscious habits that help you clear energy. Maybe you were raised by people that don't clear energy at all in that life. And so maybe you have a split off event, and there's so much energy that you can't process that becomes a tune out, you know, a scattering event. So it's just, you know, how much energy could you not handle, you know? So if there's a lot that you couldn't handle, it's probably more of a split off event, like a tune out, a scattering event. And if there's, you know, less that you can't handle, then it could turn into just a side road event. If there's a much smaller amount that you can't handle, then, you know, you just stay on your path, maybe get a little stuck and stop on your path, or sit on the bench, and, you know, you're not moving forward at the time. So there's just different degrees. And so by working on these things, we're helping you to restore from all that stuff that happened to you. And again, we are going to do a little part where we clear shame, because I think it's a natural reaction to some of this trauma that you might feel ashamed, like, oh, you know, I'm trying so hard and I still made a mistake, or I still got off track. What's wrong with me? That's no fair. You know, and at the root of like the frustration and the resistance and the anger, maybe just some shame, like that. Well, how did I mess up? I tried so hard, you know. But it's not. So we're gonna clear shame so you don't get stuck in that, because, you know, everybody has stuff like this. You know, growth is always, you know, it's a journey. It's not like, oh, I meditated for a year, a whole bunch, and now I'm just perfect, you know. There's always more that you can restore from and grow from and learn, and your deeper levels of stability and enjoyment. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. So we're going to clear some shame and also unblock the fourth chakra and the fourth layers of your astral and physical bodies, to help with that. So you can have the glass half full experience of this, of like, wow, this is amazing that I get this energy back, versus like, you know, that sucks. Why did I mess up? I tried so hard. This isn't fair. You know, if you have those sort of glass half empty thoughts and feelings, generally you're stuck in a blocked up fourth chakra, and possibly also some shame underneath all the, you know, emotion. So that's why we're gonna incorporate today also the, you know, fourth chakra and fourth layer flow stuff, and also clearing shame, which is just energy blocks, certain energy blocks that cause you to feel like, you know, you're wrong and yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So I hope that makes sense. Basically, in nutshell, today we're working split off events. And we're repeating some of the more minor stress management. Well, not stress management of, you know, like with the unprocessed stress pots and the two big energy blocks, we're repeating that, you know, so that's sort of like, I would say regular stress management, but then, you know, restoring from these split off events. That's really the thing we're doing today. And it builds on what we did in the last two healings, really. The first healing of this set and the last healing of the last set. So anyway, hope that helps. Okay, so that was the overview, which was about 14 minutes long. So now we will do the quiet time, where I'm quiet for about three minutes or so. And during that time, I'll finish my prep of myself, and I will say hello telepathically to the people that I'm healing, that I'll be healing, and just so they're very, very aware on a spirit level that the healing's starting. And then when I start healing everybody, my hands go up like that, because that's how I start. So that's how you'll know I'm starting healing. And then a minute after that, that's when I'll talk. And the whole rest is a walkthrough where I'm explaining what I'm doing as I do it. And you could use that as a walkthrough to heal yourself at the same time. So this is the start of the quiet part, just for about 3 minutes. Okay, thanks for waiting. So, when you heal yourself, feel free to make a copy out in front of you of yourself, and then you heal the copy, and therefore you're healing yourself. Using gold light from your hands, you have big energy centers in the palm of each hand and in your fingertips. So you set those with your intention to be a metallic gold color, which then makes them generate metallic gold energy. They're going to generate energy no matter what, but if you set them at gold, just these ones in your hands, then that's the color and vibration that you are generating. So go ahead, comb through your whole space and just check it out. Check out your chakras, check out your auras. You have 17 auras. And you have 2 groundings. So let's do grounding first. Grounding is what I would call the first of the 4 essentials. So let's do that. I'm taking notes because later I will put a detailed healing summary in the comment section with timestamp links to all the major things. Okay, so recreate your grounding, make it really big and wide as all your auras. So about this wide, as wide as the heel of the palm of your hand if you were to stretch out your arms. And try out all 3 colors one at a time just to see which one releases the most. And you're intuitively imagining which one releases the most, or you can imagine visually if you're good at that. Otherwise, just guess, because guessing and intuition, if you're centered enough, your guessing is... Sorry about that. Yikes. If you're centered enough, your intuitive guessing, your guessing is good intuition. All right, so test out red grounding, see how well that releases. Test out orange grounding, see how well that releases. Test out yellow grounding, see how well that releases for you. And then just go with whichever of those 3 colors releases the most. And make a copy out in front of you of both your groundings, astral body and physical body grounding. They both ideally work best if they're the same color while you're awake. So both of them at red, both of them at orange, both at yellow, whatever you like. And as you comb through your grounding, just find the blocks and release. Especially in the back and the center. All right, and then indie grounding. Is where you're still using that copy of your grounding and you're checking the outer perimeter as it goes all the way down. Oh, and you make your grounding come up high as your 3rd chakra. So where your sternum bone ends, this is your sternum bone. Where that ends, that's your 3rd chakra. So make your grounding go up high like that. And all around you, nice and wide and high. And then wide all the way down to the core of you. Okay, so now indie grounding. So you still have that copy of your groundings and just use gold light and melt off any connections that you can detect around the outer surface of your groundings. Because even if you have a young kid, it's better if their grounding goes straight down to the core of the earth and your grounding goes straight down. No like interconnected groundings. That leads to some very stressed out parents and some freaked out kids. So just everybody needs to be their own tree with their own roots for maximum stability. So just check that outer perimeter, melt away the connections, If you do have young kids, just remind them, hey, you be a big strong tree, you connect to the core of the earth, I'll be a big strong tree, and I'll connect to the core of the earth. Okay, so that's indie grounding. So then aura repair. Of your 17 auras. So you have 15 of those are Wei Qi auras, Weichi, 2 words, Wei Qi. Wei Qi is a traditional Chinese medicine concept, although the fact that you have 15 Wei Qi auras, that is not taught within traditional Chinese medicine. That's just something the angels explained to me. So you have 15 of those Wei Qi auras, and they're big gold flowy force fields, which help all your meridians, energy pathways within your body. So they're very cool. They help you with strong boundaries. And then the other 2 auras are more commonly known, your astral body aura and your physical body aura. So that's how you get 17 auras. So you just imagine them, they're all roughly in the same place if you're present. And so just comb through them and check for rips, because the basics of aura repair is you're repairing rips so that you're not leaking energy, so that you can be at your best. So just check intuitively, see if you can notice where rips are. And then we'll use composite copy technique to repair them in a more efficient way. It's also very newbie friendly. So with composite copy technique, you create a rip, and you don't rip yourself, but you make a rip, like representation, a copy, and have this rip with your intention, have it represent all the rips that you need to repair in your auras. And then you clean it out. First, clean out the rips with sticky gold wax. So that's gold light from your hands that sticks to all that's not you. And you lift out all the junk. Angels, here you go. Give it to your angels. One more time, with your rip, fill it up with sticky gold wax. Let the wax stick to all the junk. Give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. So then now this rip should be pretty cleaned out, or adequately cleaned out. So then just more gold light will start the repair process. And the rips will repair. Just keep using lots of gold light though. All right, and then we'll do one more, because you could have a few that just didn't repair well. The others are all repaired. So any leftover rips, we'll have a new composite copy rip that represents all the leftover rips that are so good to do right now. And fill it up with sticky gold wax. Get rid of all the junk in a big lump. Angels, here you go. Fill it up again with sticky gold wax. Get rid of any remaining junk. Angels, here you go. And then just use lots of gold light. Okay, so that is repairing the rips, which is the basics of aura repair. Now, for those Wei Qi auras, those 15 Wei Qi auras, which help with strong boundaries, they have an aspect within them that's really useful to repair. And that is they have gold mesh spheres within them. So each of these 15 Wei Qi auras, they look like gold flowy force fields. But if you look at an extra level of detail, they each have a set of 3 gold mesh spheres within them. So that, follow roughly the outline of your body. So it's a sphere of gold mesh that generates gold light. And so there's one that's the outermost, middle, and innermost for each of these 15 Wei Qi auras. And they generate gold light, which is really cool. And that gold light gets sent inward to repair and nurture the meridians of your physical body. So super, super, super useful. So say you get whacked, right? And you maybe check for damage and you repair your chakra damage and you repair your auras. Go ahead and repair the gold mesh spheres, particularly in that area, because there could be like a hole ripped through a few of them. And once you repair those, then, you know, even if you don't do direct healing on your meridians, the gold mesh spheres now being repaired in those areas will send gold light there, which may be enough to fix the meridian damage. If it's not enough to fix the meridian damage, then of course you could manually heal those meridians, even just really quickly. For example, someone in their survey said, oh, I have a migraine, so I'm waiting for that to go away. Well, okay, but while you're waiting, you could check, see if you have aura damage, which you probably do, and then you can repair that and repair the gold mesh spheres in that area. And then you could even, you know, of course, check for major chakra damage, but then also check for meridian damage, because migraines, even just regular headaches, it doesn't matter if they're common, it could be that you have meridian damage, and then once you repair that and get that all flowing and functional, the headache could lift, or at least be a lot less. So, wow, that was a long detour. Gosh. Detour. So that was a detour explaining spheres. Man. So now we will do repair of the gold mesh spheres, which is a lot easier than explaining. So you have your body, and then 1, 2, 3. Each of the Wei Qi auras has 3 gold mesh spheres. So just imagine, you know, all of them at once. So the outer ones, the middle ones, the inner ones, and just use gold light throughout. Repair the rips. You could have, you know, some beings in the way or some hard objects in the way. So do the repair you can, and then just lift out anything in the way, beings or hard objects. Give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Do some more repair. Again, of your gold mesh spheres within your Wei Qi auras. And then lift out anything in the way, beings or hard objects. Angels, here you go. Do some more repair. And then also left, so that's gold mesh spheres, we did it. So then we'll just do the scarring and bruising. Melt that. So you can have just leftover hardness from someone having thrown energy at you. So even though you repaired the rips, there's just plates of leftover hard energy. So just put all that in a pile so you can melt it away. So any aura scarring or aura bruising left over, scarring is in the outer surface of any of the auras. Bruising is more inner, typically in the 2 regular aura layers, the auras, the astral or the physical body auras. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Just lump all together, all your scarring and bruising, and melt it away with gold light. And again, if you have, you know, tenderness around one side of your neck, or tension, or, you know, weird feeling around your tummy or something, you probably have some scar or bruising around there. So just keep piling it in the middle, so you know, in front of you, copies of it in the middle, so you can melt it away. Okay, cool. So then let's just do like a gold net throughout the auras, just to keep getting rid of like invasive beings and hard objects and invasive people. So just imagine your physical body, your astral body, all your auras, your groundings, and bigger than that, make a cube of collapsing gold nets. and collapse that in to catch up all the junk you want to get rid of, the beings, the people, the hard objects. Haul it out, give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. Big collapsing gold nets, collapse them in, tangle up all the junk that's not you, drag it out. Angels, here you go. One more time. Collapsing gold nets, drag out all the stuff that's not you. Deep breath. It's okay to let go. It's okay to let go. Drag it out. Give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. All right. So now we'll just finish the repair. You know, there may be just teeny leftover gashes in the edge of some of your auras, so we don't want that. We don't want leaks. So just finish up the repair. Extra gold light around the outer surface of all your 17 auras so that those little tiny holes repair up. All right, good job. So that was aura repair plus a bunch of extras, which, you know, we took 37 minutes, 11 minutes to do that. But I would say, you know, sometimes people are like, well, can you make a video without so much explaining? It's like, well, but if you don't need the explanation, one thing you could do, I sound kind of funny this way, but if you still want to hear every word I said, but you don't really need a lot of the explanation because you've heard it so many times and you understand it already, you could speed up, like when you replay it later, you could speed it up and listen, and YouTube, it allows you to speed up the playback, so you're listening to it twice as fast or something. And I look even funnier than when I do my little things, you know? And I think it's still kind of mellow. I mean, obviously my voice is faster then, but I'm very peaceful in general, so I think it's not necessarily unsettling, you know, to hear me talk a lot faster. And that way you're still going to hear all my little side stories if you want to hear them, but it's like you just can do it all faster. That's an option. Also, of course, just freestyle. You know, you know how to do this stuff. Just freestyle on your own if you want. But the listening sped up is an option that maybe you haven't considered. All right. So now creative ring repair. So creative rings are above your head, and 1, 2, 3. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's a really good candidate to check. Like, do I have damage to my creative rings? You also may have aura damage. You also may have chakra damage as well. But sometimes people don't get everything damaged. It's just like one thing got selectively blown up because someone can send a lot of energy through a cord. Like if they can get cords into your creative rings and then send a lot of energy there, they could blow up and cause a lot of damage to your creative rings. And maybe there was aura damage, but you already fixed that. Maybe subconsciously, but you weren't able to subconsciously fix all the creative ring damage. So it's definitely worth checking. Okay, so we're going to repair and unblock your creative rings, and that's going to be good. So just imagine your 3 gold rings, 3 gold creative rings, a copy of them out in front of you, and just use lots of gold light, wash them off. And melt away cords going into them from people or beings. And also the inner surface of them. Clean that off because that can have hardness there. So you don't want that. So just wash off any hardness in the inside of the rings. And you can lift out the hardness too if it's not washing off nicely. Just give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. Lift out the hard. If you have any hard shell on the inside, lift it out. Angels, here you go. So what that does is then the gold light also, it goes down to your chakras, but it also goes inward so that you get a nice gold force field in the middle there, which helps to protect you know, all this important stuff, your meridians that are up here at the top, and your major chakra, which is your seventh chakra in the head, in your head, in the top of your head. So, and then the extra level of detail, which I think is a nice way, as you know, to intuitively check and sort of adjust just in a moment, you know, freestyling, not listening to a video, but just check how open your flaps are of your creative rings, and go ahead and, you know, melt enough cords and blocks away so that they fully close, that the flaps fully close. So this is a diagram of when the flaps are open. And of, like, if you were to look down at your top creative ring, it might look like that if the flaps are open. So the cords, pairs of cords from beings or people, can go in, and it's a lot easier for more and more cords to go in if these flaps are open. So anyway, just be aware of how open your creative ring flaps are. They look the same on each of the rings, each of the 3 rings. And just keep melting away cords. So a lot of times if you're having very dramatic feelings, your flaps might be very open, your creative ring flaps. It's funny because, you know, people can get caught up in, oh, but I really hate this, or I really hate that. That's really terrible in my life. You know, this person, this job, this situation, this, you know, whatever, right? But a lot of times it's just how you're doing inwardly that affects how you're perceiving things. So try not to get too caught up in what you don't like externally, and just look for the inner issues going on that are causing you to, you know, not feel good. Obviously, external problems, you know, still would be there, but your perception of them would really change if you take care of what's going on within you. And a lot of times there's a nice chain reaction. Once the flaps close up there, then a lot of the flaps of your major chakras, because you have flaps around the round openings of all your major chakras. So those flaps can close as well. So then your energy can flow in and out of the round openings of a chakra, but it's harder for people to cord if the flaps are shut. So then we can do sticky gold wax of all your creative rings, your 3 creative rings, and just wax the whole thing. Your creative rings, and then all the way down along your spine, all your major chakras, your 7 astral chakras and your 7 physical body chakras. So just sticky gold wax the whole thing, which is gold light from your hands that sticks to anything that's not you, that you're ready to get rid of. And then just move it out, the wax and the junk, give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. Again, sticky gold wax the whole thing, your creative rings, all your chakras, your major chakras along your spine, including your Kundalini chakra. You can unblock that too, wax that too. And then have the wax stick to all the junk and move out the junk. Angels, here you go. One more time, sticky gold wax your rings and all your major chakras, also your Kundalini chakra, which is below your physical first chakra. Just sticky gold wax the whole thing. Couple deep breaths, think about it's okay to let go. And then move out all the junk and give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. Okay, good job. So that was creative ring repair and unblocking, including the enhanced stuff where we unblock the inside of it, and including sticky gold wax of all your major chakras, as well as your creative rings, as well as your Kundalini chakra of your physical body. So then we'll do chakra repair. Chakra repair of all your major and minor chakras. So all your major and minor chakras have the same basic shape. They could be smaller because of where they are and what they do, but this is the basic shape. So there's this open cylinder. So the cylinder part, round opening, and your energy would go through the chakra, in one opening out the other, if it's unblocked enough. And it also generates energy. Chakras generate energy. So they're motors to help keep your energy flowing. And then they also are like little energy generators. And so they generate energy. So they contribute to the flow in that way also, just by making more energy. So if you have low energy, sometimes it's because of, you need aura repair and your energy is leaking out. But sometimes the chakras are just too blocked or too damaged, so they can't do their job and keep the flow going and create more energy. So that's why we're going to do chakra repair and unblocking right now. So you make one copy with your intention. You make a composite copy chakra. So it looks like an open cylinder, and with your intention, you say, okay, well, I want this to represent all my major and minor chakras of my body and spirit. And then you go ahead and use gold light from your hands to repair this composite copy chakra. And as you do this, you're repairing all your major and minor chakras. So the minor chakras includes all the acupuncture points in your body, because those are little chakras, each acupuncture point. So they're very important. So if a chakra is damaged, it could just be crushed, like this is a basic chakra shape, right? And so if it was just all crumpled on one end, or the whole thing was crumpled, or a chunk was missing, or there was a scratch or a gash that's not supposed to be there, that's how chakra damage would be. And if it's damaged, it's harder for the flow, and also it's easier for people to cord. So that's why we're repairing. And then you can unblock. You can just lift out energy blocks and blow them up if you want, or lift them out and melt them with lots of gold light, or lift them out and hand them to your angels. Angels, here you go. So lift out energy blocks from around your chakras. Angels, here you go. Lift out the blocks. Angels, here you go. Lift them out. Angels, here you go. And you can lift out for the theme of, if you want to be more enthusiastic and inspired, we'll do those two first. So any blocks in your chakras in the way of your enthusiasm and inspiration, just lift out those blocks to the extent that's healthy and gentle. Lift out what's good to get rid of right now. And angels, here you go. Lift out those blocks in the way of your enthusiasm and inspiration, and you can just melt them or blow them up or hand them to your angels. And then your abundance. So go ahead and be aware of, to the extent that's healthy and gentle, what is good for you to get rid of out of your chakras, major and minor chakras, to help you with abundance. And again, abundance is not just, what's in your bank accounts. It's also, it's an energy thing. It helps you to have what you need when you need it. And sort of like a low drama thing too, like so that you manifest less drama. Some dramas are necessary for learning, but a lot of them are not. And so abundance, since it's generated by the first chakra at the base of the spine, it also is sort of this the cousin or the sibling of safety, which is also a first chakra thing. So being safe, being stable, that's also a part of abundance that we're working. So anything in the way of any of that, safety, courage, abundance. So lift out those blocks anywhere that they are and melt them or blow them up or give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Lift out any blocks from any of your chakras, even though a lot of it's first chakra, but there could be meridians and stuff that are related to it. There could be some chakras, other chakras that have related blocks. So we'll just cover all our bases, right? And as we're doing all major and minor chakras, lift out any blocks in the way of your safety, courage, and abundance. Lift out the blocks. Angels, here you go. Lift out more blocks in the way of your safety, courage, and abundance. You can melt them with gold light. Lift out more blocks in the way of your safety, courage, and abundance. Angels, here you go. Okay, and then so that we already did repair, and that was unblocking. We already did general unblocking, so then that was for the theme. That unblocking. So then we'll do RAD unblocking. RAD is an acronym, stands for resistance, avoidance, and denial. And again, there's nothing to be ashamed of, but it is sort of, you know, common that there's stuff that you might be resisting or avoiding or in denial about that is good for you to clear, so that you can move forward more efficiently in your life and enjoy your life more. So any resistance, avoidance, or denial blocks that are good to get rid of, that are in your chakras, just lift out those RAD blocks and blow them up or give them to your angels or melt them with gold light. Angels, here you go. So lift out your RAD blocks, resistance, avoidance, and denial. Angels, here you go. Lift out your RAD blocks. You could also melt them with gold light. Lift out your RAD blocks, melt them with gold light. Lift out your RAD blocks. Give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Sometimes if you do have like an extreme emotion or something, it's like part of you's in an inner battle. And resistance, avoidance, and denial can be involved in that. Like there's part of you that really wants to move forward, but that would involve clearing certain energy blocks that another part of you is really avoiding. So then it's like there's this extreme sort of cover-up drama that you're experiencing in your emotions or your mind. So if you just clear the resistance, then you can clear what you're really avoiding, and there's like an inner simplicity and relief that can come from that. So anyway, so that was clearing RAD blocks. So then we can do first points and then worst chakras. So first points is, I won't explain it as much this time, but your body meridians, we're going to do first points. We're going to unblock the first chakra within each of those body meridians, the 12 primary meridians, and also 2 of the extraordinary meridians in traditional Chinese medicine, your CV meridian and your GV meridian. So CV meridian manages all the yin meridians, and yang, GV meridian manages all the yang meridians. And I have lots of videos where I explain that in more detail. But anyway, the first point in that, a meridian is like a river. And so the first energy center in that river, if that's blocked up, then there's much less flow in the whole rest of the river. So that's a sort of a quick and easy way for us to help each of these meridians, is just unblock that first point within the whole river. So we're just going to make one composite copy that represents all those first points. Red is a good color for your acupuncture points, but this paper happens to be yellow. For third chakra is nice for yellow, but anyway. So just imagine a composite copy chakra that represents all your first points for the 12 primary meridians and GV and CV. And just unblock those first points. Just imagine, typically, like say if the direction of flow in the meridian is this way, so this is where the first one and then the rest of the river is over here, then the buildup will most likely be here. But we're going to unblock the whole thing also, but especially right before the start of the river. So there's lots of gold light to melt those blocks. The blocks can be within the chakra also, so you can just imagine those and melt them away. Okay, and you want to do what's healthy and gentle to do right now. So that was first points. So then we'll do worst chakras, which is just, we've already repaired all the major and minor chakras, but sometimes you have a few chakras here and there that are so damaged, maybe they're corded, maybe, just extra stuff happened to them. And so they needed extra time. And so they're not quite fully repaired and unblocked yet. So if you can just sort of have one composite copy that just represents those worst ones that still need some work, it's pretty time efficient. So just make a composite copy of, of a chakra, and with your intention, you have it represent all the worst chakras, the ones that still need repair and unblocking or melting cords, and just do that. So you have your worst chakras, which can include acupuncture points. So it's worst chakras among all your chakras, major and minor, of your body and spirit. So lots of gold light, lots of lifting out energy blocks, melt them away with gold light, lift out the energy blocks, melt them. More repair, more melting cords. Melt the blocks, lift them out, melt them away, lift them out. Come to your angels, angels, here you go. Okay, so that was worst chakras, repair and unblock for worst chakras. All right, good job. So that's the 4 essentials. So then sometimes we do body flow of just regular physical body unblocking, but I'm going to skip that today. We did it 2 days ago. I will do a speed round just of the 2 things, the unprocessed stress pots and the 2 big energy blocks. Because I think that'll help prepare for the other work that we're doing, the split off events, working on those. So, I explained in the intro discussion this time, you can have, it's a metaphorical representation of unprocessed stress that you have in your space that you haven't cleared yet or released or whatever you need to do with it. And so you can just imagine pots in your space that, that are supposed to be like reservoirs for you to, put off a little bit, processing some of your stress. But you only have so much reserves like that. And so your pots can be full. So just imagine all your unprocessed stress pots and imagine which ones of those are full or partially full. And any that are a little full, even a little, just bring up red earth energy from the core of the earth right into the pots, and then gold light from your hands, and just melt away what's in the pot. And what needs to release down to the core of the earth, we'll do that. And what needs to dissolve, we'll do that. So this is emptying your unprocessed stress pots. And sometimes you're really avoiding the stress pot, so it's kind of hidden. So just say, okay, well, what are the ones I'm hiding from myself? What are the unprocessed stress pots that I'm hiding from myself? And we'll take a look at those and address those, because it's so easy to do it, to deal with them. So just red grounding, bring up red earth energy, and then gold light. And just empty out these stress pots. Okay, good job. You can check your grounding again, see how you're doing. And then 2 big energy blocks. So if you're flowing, a lot of times and you're present and your energy's flowing and you're grounded enough, your grounding isn't blocked enough, you can be fairly good at just dynamically clearing energy blocks, even just subconsciously throughout your day. You may need a little adjustment so that you're present enough for that to resume. So that's nice. You can just practice checking yourself for a minute or two, and then you don't have to think about it, and just go about your day for the next couple hours, and you're clearing as you go because you recentered yourself and your auto clear is kind of back on. But there can be energy blocks that are too big for that, and they're just kind of connected to other blocks, and that's how come they're too big. So just imagine, okay, well, how many too big energy blocks do you have around your space that are good to clear right now, but they're too big, so they're not going to automatically clear? And say you have, 50 of those. Well, don't try to clear all 50 at once, because the point is they're too big, right? So maybe take a batch of 3 or 5 at once and just, imagine them and melt them with gold light. Have the gold light separate them, because chances are they're like 4 blocks all connected to make a big energy block. So just use gold light and that'll start to separate the blocks and melt them away. They'll explode. And then just keep imagining more of them, just a little bunch at a time, whatever's approachable for you. And as they separate, they'll probably just explode at that time, but if not, you can just keep running gold light through them until they explode. Or you could blow them up. All right. And again, these 2 things are dynamic. Like, in other words, you could do them in the morning and then you're more productive, but then in the afternoon, stuff happens in the meantime, and maybe some of your stress pots are full again and you have more too big energy blocks. So, the quicker you can learn how to do it, and just then you can kind of double check and redo it later in just a minute. So, okay, now we will do split off events. Meaning we will heal from them. So I already explained those in the intro. It could be, something happened, and typically it's like energy came in that wasn't yours. Somebody dumped energy on you, or you took on energy from somebody, like a copy of their pain. Or so there's incoming energy. But there can also be your own baggage, like, repressed anger, or, like trauma baggage. Like you're just very triggered. It's all stuck together, so it's all stuck. But it's not really like someone dumped energy on you. So there can be inner stuff, inner baggage, or there could be, incoming energy that wasn't yours at all, or a copy of something that's not yours. So it doesn't matter. There's inner baggage and then there's this incoming energy. So one or both of those situations can be occurring. And then if it's too much, there's a split off event typically. So some of your energy might go on down a side road, or some of it might scatter and go far away. So like a common example is like, kids. Ideally, all kids have like this nice little innocent childhood, right? But, in real life, kids can witness a lot of stress that the adults are going through, or they themselves can go through a lot of stress. And some of it can be triggered by past life baggage they have. So it's not always something that the parents did in this life. But anyway, long story short, kids can go through a lot of junk, right? And so some of typically what splits off could be little parts of that kid's innocence. And innocence is an energy. It's a really nice energy. And adults, if they have it, it helps you to be more playful and helps with stress management. And it's a wonderful energy. But you can get it back. So, chances are a bunch of your innocence, if you're an adult, a bunch of your innocence may be far away. Maybe because of split off events in this life, but it could be split off events from past lives. So it doesn't matter when it happened, and you don't have to know what happened. That's the cool part. So the other thing is, other than like scattering events, it could be just a side road event where, you part of you goes down a side road. You get kind of distracted, or you get an idea that, like, what's a common one? Time wasting stuff, like you have to do this one project, but you end up doing 3 others that were totally not as important. That's kind of a side road event. Or let's see, what else is a good one? Say there's this one project and you really want to do it, but it's like, it triggers some baggage. Like you don't want to fail at this project because it's so meaningful to you. So you might end up going down a side road and doing like a lot of projects that are not as great for you. They're not as stabilizing or as nourishing, and sometimes side roads though can feel good in the moment. And it's only like 10 years later or 20 years later that you realize like, yeah, I could have skipped that whole part. So it's not always that a side road feels terrible. What is always true with the tune out ones is that, you kind of numb out. Although some people, they're numbed out and they don't realize it. And so there's just less of them there, and they've always been that way, so they don't really notice the difference. So anyway, it doesn't matter how it feels. The point is, if you come back and you heal enough, then you're going to be stronger, more stable, and feel typically better in a more reliable way, like consistent. All right, so that was explaining split off events more, even though I already explained in the intro. So then 12:08, we're doing. So now we're doing, addressing the split off events. So the first thing is clearing blocks, right? And then we'll heal, and then we'll unblock more. So all these split off events, what they have in common, and we're gonna not work every single split off event that has ever happened to you in any lifetime. We're gonna just have our intention be, we want to work on the ones that are healthy and gentle to work right now. Okay, and then you can do more over time. So of the split off events that are really good to work on right now, healthy and gentle for you to work on right now, imagine, and I said at the last healing 2 days ago that if it's a lot of energy, I kind of like imagining it like refrigerators of blocked energy. That's just something that it feels like less spooky to me. Like, oh, I have 10 refrigerators worth of blocked energy I have to clear. Or I have, so you may have that too, like some kind of a way of imagining a big portion of blocked energy, like boxes of blocked energy, or dumpsters full of blocked energy, or something that's a little playful and doesn't freak you out, because you don't want to get too serious with this work, because the whole point is these split off events were not fun. So try to have fun as you're working them, because that way you're not going to get stuck in any of it, right? So, okay, so how many I'll just keep using refrigerators as the example, but you can substitute in dumpsters or boxes or whatever you want. So just imagine, of all the split off events that are good for you to work right now, how many refrigerators worth of energy came in? You either brought them in or they were dumped. And then just imagine all those refrigerators. Maybe there's 100, maybe there's 5, whatever. And just say, angels, is it okay to clear all these right now? And you can, in the meantime, while your angels are evaluating, just bring up red earth energy and soak them in red earth energy straight from the core of the earth. Soak your your big amount of blocks that came in during your split off events. And then whatever's still there that your angels didn't remove is okay to clear right now. So go ahead and melt away all your refrigerators of blocked energy that was incoming, that came in during as part of these split off events. And go ahead and imagine more, because maybe there's more that is still good for you to release at once. So any more incoming energy related to these split off events, just imagine like refrigerators or boxes or dumpsters or whatever you like. And then say, angels, is it okay to clear these too? And then just go ahead and, if they're still there, melt them with gold light. And if you have any left over that are not clearing, you're having trouble with that, just hand them to your angels. Angels, can you help me with these? Okay, so that's the incoming energy aspect of it. But then you could just have inner blocks too related to this split off event. Maybe some baggage that got triggered and that was part of why you split off. So any inner stuff, you can just make a big gold blanket, and any inner blocks or inner baggage related to the split off event that caused part of you to split off, just put the baggage all on the blanket, the gold blanket, and say, angels, is it okay to clear all this right now? And then they'll remove whatever's not okay to clear right now. And anything that's left over on your gold blanket, go ahead, you can blow it up, you can melt it with gold light, gold fire, gold water. And you can do that again. You know, big gold blanket, any inner baggage that is related to these split off events of yours. So it could be baggage that you've been avoiding for a long time, you know, and it's just, that's part of why you split off. So just put it all in the blanket and say, angels, is it okay to clear all this right now? And that way your angels will evaluate it. And anything that's still left on the blanket, that means yes, it's okay to clear right now. So go ahead and melt it. You can imagine it's still like refrigerators if you like that. Or piles, whatever you want. So this is your inner baggage related to the split off event. And it could be stuff you've really been avoiding. So it's just easier to clear it than avoid it anymore. All right, and if you have any left over that still hasn't cleared, you can wrap it up in the gold blanket, give it to your angels. Angels, can you help me with this? All right, so clearing all that helps, because then we're going to heal these parts of you that split off, and they're going to come back, and so that junk will be gone that you know, that caused the split off, and so it'll feel better, right? So, but healing these split off parts of you also helps enhance the experience, makes it more gentle, more soothing. So you can imagine these little parts of you, and again, this is just the split off events that are healthy and gentle to work right now. But you can imagine little mini yous. They're either on little side roads or they're just sort of up in the air off at a distance, right? So however many yous are healthy and gentle to work right now that have split off, and just say hi to all of them in the most comforting voice you can manage. Hey, it's okay. You know, don't get into whatever happened to them. These parts of you, just use gold light. And bathe these parts of you with gold light. The parts of you on the side roads, the parts of you far off. Be like, hey, it's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. Everything's all right. You just deserve a healing. And you can also say, angels, can you help me heal these parts of me that split off? And just feel how that feels to have these parts of you healed and coming back now. And if it's probably a pretty gentle experience, but if it's not a gentle experience for you, go ahead and unblock your grounding. And you can also give extra gold light to your fourth chakra right here. And so with a flowing grounding and a nice flowing fourth chakra, it should be a pretty gentle experience to have this energy come back now. because you got rid of what was overwhelming you and you healed those parts of you that split off. So just feel how that feels to get your energy back. Keep breathing deeply. Breathe into all your major joints. Breathe into all your auras, your 17 auras, your 2 groundings. So that was the doing part of, getting rid of, dealing with these split off events, just to the number of split off events that's healthy and gentle to process right now. So of course you could say, angels, can you help me work on this as much as I need to over time? So you could, redo it with the video, but you could freestyle it. You could do it in your sleep. You could do it subconsciously. Lots of good options. So that was the clearing part, and then the heal, the mini you parts. And then just feel how that feels coming back. All right, so then also as part of split off events, as part of doing, let's clear shame. As I mentioned in the intro that could be an issue, like sometimes if you went off, you split off, or you, no matter which way you went, if you had these hard experiences, it's sort of a side effect of just having a hard experience that you may go into shame about it, even though there's nothing to be ashamed of. And then you might cover up that shame with sadness or fear or loneliness or whatever. So a lot of times shame is underneath that, and if you get rid of that, then you can process everything else better. So shame can be directly like taught to you, by some extreme religious situations, or some really imbalanced parent-child experience that you had. But like I said, it could just be the result of having gone through hard things. It just kind of does something to you. It makes you feel like you did something wrong, even when that's the furthest thing from the truth. So we can just do blanket exercise to clear shame. So big blanket, go blanket out in front of you, pile onto it shame energy. Any shame energy that you have, you could imagine the blocks that are causing shame, like refrigerators, like bricks, like just a pile of shame, whatever you want to imagine it like. And then just melt it all with gold light or blow it up. And so this is clearing your shame, clearing any energy blocks that make you feel shame on any level. And this is not the sort of the positive. Sometimes people use shame in a positive sense of like just a personal sense of ethics, which is different. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a shame that is very demoralizing and weakening and kind of shuts you off. So we don't want that. So just melt away shame energy blocks, and you can keep putting more on the blanket. And you can check with your angels, is it okay to melt all this? But usually, yes. Usually it's like a blanket yes for as much shame as you want to melt. But never hurts to check with your angels. So more, just pile onto the blanket any shame energy blocks that you may have from this or past lives. And it could be other people's energy that just were trying to make you feel ashamed because of their own, inner baggage. So just melt the shame. All right, good job. So a couple deep breaths. See how that feels. So then let's unblock. It's also part of the split off parts, to do afterwards. I think it's all good to do. we're going to unblock fourth chakras and fourth layers. Technically, they should already be repaired, your fourth chakras, but your fourth chakra generates self-love, self-love, enthusiasm, motivation, a sense of gratitude, and also a glass half full. When it works properly, it allows you to have like a wonder, humility, just a sense of gratitude for your life, gratitude to the angels, gratitude to nature. You know, it's this really beautiful sense of wonder and just appreciation. And the more it gets blocked, the more you tend to resent things, the more you tend to intensely dislike things, the more you maybe you just don't feel motivated, all sorts of issues. So this work, since we're undoing the effects of these split off events, it's nice to have extra support here for the fourth chakra and the fourth layers, just so you get that positivity, you know, because this energy is coming back that's been through a lot. So it's nice to have a really highly functioning fourth chakras and fourth layers to help you to see things in a glass half full perspective and feel grateful and feel uplifted, right? So just imagine both your fourth chakras, they would be right in the center of your chest, one for your astral body and one for your physical body. But you can imagine both in the same place. And green is a nice color, I would say, for your fourth chakras. So you can just set them to your favorite shade of green and use lots of gold light to repair them and melt cords going into them. There's no good reason for anybody to cord your fourth chakra. I mean, maybe like occasionally, you know, for like a couple minutes, you know, some expression of kindness with somebody. There might be some cording for like 2-3 minutes. That's healthy, but over time, no. Over time, it just, you know, tends to bog you down and make it harder for you to clear things like resentment or loneliness or, you know, feeling betrayed or any of that. So you want good flow, melt away all the cords going into your fourth chakras. Lots of gold light. Unblock your fourth chakras, just melt away the hardness. And fourth layers of your auras, because your fourth chakra, it's like a motor and it helps keep the flow going in your fourth layers, but also it generates energy, that enthusiasm, motivation, all that good stuff, right? So let's unblock your fourth layers. You can just use like gold sandstorm, spinning gold light from your hands, and just melt away all the hardness in your fourth layers and just wash out everybody. Your fourth layers. Sometimes you can have, you know, if like say you have cancer or you lost a loved one, you lost a pet, you lost a spouse, a lot of times people will just dump stuff in your fourth layer, like, oh, I'm so sorry, oh, that's so terrible, you know, and it's like all of a sudden it's so hard for you to feel better, even though you want to clear your grief because you have everybody else's heaviness there. So people, a lot of times they mean well when they block up your fourth layer of your fourth chakra. You know, they can just like feel it. You know, that expression, my heart goes out to you. Clear your energy if you hear that one. Doesn't mean people don't mean well, but you know, you could have just been dumped on. Their heart's supposed to stay with them. So lots of gold light, clear out your fourth layers so that your green, flowy enthusiasm has a place to swim around and enjoy. So especially the very top of your fourth layers up here and the very bottom of your fourth layers below your feet. And then that space from your fourth chakra to the fourth layer in front and back, I call those your fourth chakra rivers. So just extra unblock those because you can get a lot of hard buildup there. Whew. So just breathe a few times. How does that feel? And I had said in the intro, you know, fourth chakra, it generates these wonderful feelings, but if you're too much in your fourth chakra and it gets blocked, then everything is like upside down land. Everything's, you know, you can be resentful, feel like you're a failure, everything's, you know, everything was time wasted, everything's awful, you know. So have the extra bit of your attention, you'll be in all your chakras, but have the extra bit of your attention in your sixth and your seventh, because that way it's like you're a car with four-wheel drive and you can get yourself out of ditches more easily. So it's good to feel that enthusiasm, but don't be it. Be up here, you know, so that you can have a perspective. You don't get lost in your desires or, you know, anything. Okay. So anyway, so that was fourth chakra unblocking and fourth layer unblocking, both astral and physical. And so then now, seventh to eighth connection, I think is another one that would be really good to do as part of this split off events processing thing that we're doing here. Unblock your seventh to eighth connection. Your eighth chakra is above you, like above the top of your aura. So like for Akudal, this is the top of her aura, right? And so her eighth chakra, it looks like a big gold sun, and it might be as close as like a foot above the top of her aura, but it might be 10 feet above the top of her aura. And it comes in and goes out depending on how engaged she is with what she's doing at the time. So for example, say she's like reading a book that she's been looking forward to reading for like 5 years, and she finally got a copy of the book and she's like, oh my God, this is like fantastic. I love this author. Maybe then her eighth chakra would be much closer. Say she's watching some silly late night show that she kind of likes watching, but she really should go to bed or whatever. Like her eighth chakra might be more tuned out because her higher self isn't that engaged in what she's doing right now. So it just depends. But anyway, there's a gold cord between your seventh chakra and your eighth chakra. Technically, it's in the back of the top back of your seventh chakra. And it goes up, you know, like a nice flowy tube of gold light between your eighth chakra and your seventh chakra to help you get wisdom and advice from your eighth chakra, like, hey, it's time to go to bed. Which also your angels would tell you too. But, you know, for example, it could give you a perspective about like, you know, this breakup is awkward, but it's for the best, or, you know, like help you to see that bigger picture. And usually it's a very calm and soothing level of wisdom, that eighth chakra energy. So if you're not feeling calmed or enthusiastic or inspired or wise at all, then maybe double check that seventh to eighth connection and unblock it. Because you have it, but it could be like, you know, like covered in black, or just like have black clogs in the gold tube. So just look for the clogs in the tube between the cord, basically, between your seventh and your eighth chakra. The connection. It's like, you know, sometimes, you know, 10 years later, you can think of something and you have so much wisdom about it, right? You know, but your higher self has been through all these past lives. So it's like that level of like perspective you already have in your eighth chakra. So you could like tune into that more, stay here, but just have that connection more unblocked. So you can get that sort of calming wisdom of your eighth chakra. And just breathe into your whole body, breathe into all your auras, your groundings. You could redo your groundings. And just feel how that feels. All right, so that was unblocking your seventh to eighth connection. So then I think the final thing that we'll do as part of this process of addressing split off events is to unblock your spiritual path ahead of you. You can unblock it around you and behind you as well, but the most important right now is to unblock ahead of you so it's easier for you to have a natural forward momentum on your path. Now that there's more of you sort of reunited with yourself and not split off, it's good to clear whatever's in your way so that you can move forward more easily. And again, you don't have to know consciously what moving forward is. And sometimes it's better to not get overly attached in, okay, this has to happen or this has to happen in my life or I'm not moving forward, right? Just think of your path and what any block in the way of, your highest best interest, right? And then just unblock the path so that you can move forward and progress. So the road that's just for you, that's your spiritual path, and you're on it. More of you's on it now, because we addressed some of the split off events that you've had. So there may be some heavy stuff that you're dragging behind you, so that's also good to melt away with gold light. Any heavy stuff you're dragging behind you, but also any sort of barrier walls or obstacles in front of you, anything making the journey forward too hard, just melt that away. All right, good job. So then just check overall, check your space, your chakras, your auras. Oh, redo your gold buffer zones. Usually I say to do that right after aura repair, but I forgot. But it's always good to do anyway, so it's not a big problem. So just check your chakras. Meaning, are they all releasing properly? Are they aligned in a nice up and down line, the major ones along your spine? Check your grounding. Make sure it's nice and wide and flowing, even in the back, even in the center part. All right, so you can just say, angels, can you please help me wrap up? Can you please give me a healing? And take some deep breaths as your angels heal you. All right, good job. Woo! That was a healing. You're great. Woo woo! Good job. All right. All right. So now we will have a brief Q&A discussion time. Hopefully, people will comment about the healing, how they're doing after the healing, and any follow-up questions about the theme. Enthusiasm, inspiration, or abundance. And just so you know, you could post a question at any time under any video, and I'll get to it and post a reply when I have a chance. I'm just setting a timer to help me be more aware of the passage of time during the Q&A. If I don't get to your question, just repost it later under a video. So more weather reports that I got. Hello from Lakewood, Colorado, sunny and 74 degrees. Yeah, see, 74 is a little hot for me for gardening. It's very enjoyable otherwise, but in the garden space that I want to work on, it's like full sun and it's all wood chipped, and the wood chips tend to like reflect back the heat and the light. So 74 would be time for me to come back inside, probably. um, but anyway, otherwise it's nice. So it says, hey Janet, we can see and hear you in Chicago, 75 degrees. Hey Janet, we can see you, 75 and sunny. Well, that's nice. Hello from lovely Belgrade. Yes, Belgrade, which I'm Serbia. Sorry, I forgot. My geography skills are not great. So from lovely Belgrade, Serbia. Well, thank you. Hello to you too. So it says, hello, Janet. Red color suits you so well. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's actually the light is kind of distorting it a little. It is a reddish orange, but it's more like a faded orange. Like if you saw it just in real life, it looks like a faded orange. But thanks, I'm glad you like it. Someone says hello from Norway. Thank you. Well, hello to you. You're welcome. Someone says hello from Ottawa, Canada. I feel calm and capable. Rock star. Thank you for the first chakra repair, and I love the spine, sacrum, pelvis, femur technique. Oh, the one where we do the body unblocking, which we did not do today. But I'm glad you like that. The first chakra repair. Did we explicitly do first chakra? I mean, not really. I don't think. But maybe you're saying just that you needed it. And we did worst chakra repair, and we repaired all chakras. So, yeah. So your first chakra did definitely get repaired. So I'm glad you feel that. That's nice. Someone says, I have to sign off. No, thank you for the healing. You're welcome. How did you're mentioning your spouse with his name? He did okay. He was a sample person that I was looking at to make sure that it was more gentle for him, addressing the split off events. So, I mean, you'll know how he's doing better than me, but I did tailor things so that, I mean, gentle is better for everybody, but obviously if somebody is having a more dramatic experience, then they really need the gentle. So, so I did tailor it for him, and his angels give me a thumbs up. So I think it worked, but we'll see. You definitely do a survey on him. You know, let me know through the survey how he did. Someone's giving me shamrocks to say hello from Northern Ireland. Hello to you too. Someone says, hi Janet, thanks for the healing. I just want to check my status on my path. I was off on a side path earlier this week, thanks. Yeah, I mean, you know, I've been on side paths. Still parts of me are on side paths. So it's an ongoing thing to, you know, keep working. It's not like a big tragedy, you know. I mean, there could be a big tragedy that does send you down a side road, but in general, you know, it's a very common thing and you can keep working this. But anyway, so your angels really do like this for you, the split off events, working that. They think that you've had more split off events that you need to work from past lives more than in this life, just for context, but it doesn't matter. You work them all the same way at the same time. So, but yeah, earlier this week, yeah, maybe like 10% of your energy went off on a side path, and that part of you is mostly back, although I think there's still a little bit of like energy, the incoming energy that was that you took on from family members that helped to motivate that side road, or like inspire the side road. You know, kind of like when you're playing pool, you know, that one ball hits the other ball, hits the other ball, and then so some incoming energy happened, and then that helped initiate your side road journey. Getting off track a bit. So there's still more of that energy to clear that came in, that helped to cause that side road event that you could keep clearing. So it's a part of the clearing the split off events. The first thing we did with it is to just clear the incoming energy and then clear the inner blocks. And, so there's still more incoming energy that you could clear regarding this week's split off event, but also just in general. But I mean, overall, there's a lot of your energy on your path moving forward. It's just that, like your angel said, especially from past lives, this is definitely something that you could keep working to really enhance things for you. So that's nice. Someone says, thanks so much, Janet. How have I been doing clearing cords from people and baggage? Clearing cords from people and baggage. I've noticed a very subtle shift when I do it. Yesterday, my mom was really cording and triggering a lot of anxiety. I also think that may have been chakra damage about anxiety. Yeah, like, there's something about like you and your spouse and your mom and even your dad. It's like sometimes you're a little bit judgy or bossy with them, and then that gets their attention, and then so you're cording their blocks and then they cord all your blocks. And so it seems like you're sort of trying to undo that now. Like sometimes that's not happening at all and you feel like $1,000,000. You're like moving forward and everything. But then it's like something happens and you get a little stuck, and then you feel like, well, they're the problem, not me, and then you kind of start cording their blocks because you're like, well, if they would just keep improving, I'd be fine, And so then you're cording them and their blocks, and then they definitely reciprocate and cord your blocks, like twice as many blocks of yours as you do of theirs. And then it gets all sticky, So I would say you're definitely on the right track. You're getting better at it, but there's still like about a third of the cording that you're in denial about. I think because you're thinking, well, bad people cord, good people don't cord, which is silly. Like somebody said in their survey, well, friends don't whack. It's like, well, good luck with that. I mean, you may have a friend that never whacks, but that would be kind of rare. I mean, friends are still human. So I mean, not everyone's meant to be your friend, but if you have an unusual situation, a friend could whack you, and you could whack the friend, it happens, so try not to be very absolutist about like only bad people cord. If someone whacks me, they'll never be my friend, like just kind of lighten up about it, because I think then you'll be better at seeing what's really happening, because you won't have those rules in your mind like, I'm a terrible person if I whack somebody, Like I think recently you have whacked your mom and your dad and your husband, so just a heads up, but again, don't like vilify yourself for that. It's just, you felt like really penned in by their cords and you were just like, cut it out. Which of course doesn't help, so, but, don't vilify yourself, because then you'll be aware of like, oh, I did it. Your mind will allow you to be aware of it. And then you can not do it again, hopefully. You can clear the frustration and because I think there are inner wounds that they keep cording, and that's when you really are like, okay, I'm gonna whack the heck out of them right now. So melt your inner wounds that your family members keep cording, and then heal the inner wounds that cause you to be frustrated with them. It seems like lately it's a bunch of inner wounds. Inner wounds that cause you to be invasive with others, and inner wounds that they really dive into, which drives you nuts. But I mean, overall, you're growing at a pretty fast rate these days, it looks like. Someone says, yay, with a heart, thank you. So when we freestyle, is it not necessary to do the basic techniques before the more specific advanced techniques, for example, doing oral repair before refrigerator block removal? Okay, so when you freestyle, you do what you need to do. So you could, it depends. Some people don't really trust their intuition. And so they don't trust that they can just use intuition and realize, like, no, all my major chakras and my minor chakras do not need repair or unblocking right now. That's not particularly urgent and I only have 2 minutes, so I'm going to skip it, or like, yeah, I better do aura repair. I have some serious aura damage, or, oops, I need creative ring repair, or, oh, no, they're repaired, but the flaps are just a little open. Let me melt cords. And, so freestyle, you can cut a lot of corners. If you listen to these recordings and you don't speed up the speed, you're doing everything at a pretty thorough pace, but very plodding, because meanwhile I'm healing 130 people at the same time. So, the pacing is because of that in part, because I'm explaining and also I'm healing 130 people. If you freestyle, you just do what you need when you need it, as long as you need, and if you feel like all your essentials are fine at the moment, then yeah, you go right to, some kind of theme related stuff, or you just double check your stress pots and you empty those and you melt your 2 big energy blocks, and then you go do what you got to do. If you freestyle, you just do as little or as much as you feel you need and based on the time that you have. Which is why I'm always encouraging people to practice freestyling, because otherwise all you have are these gargantuan 3-hour videos, and who has that kind of time, I mean, maybe some people do, which is great, but a lot of times when you need it, you don't have the 3 hours, So that's why I time sampling, that's why I try to, but freestyling is the sort of the ultimate, where you just use your intuition. But if you really don't trust your intuition, you could do a sped up version of the 4 essentials. Like if you have 5 minutes to do all your 4 essentials, well, then you fit it in, and you do your grounding, and then you do your aura repair, and then you do your creative ring repair, and then you do chakra repair, and you do all 4 because A, because you feel like you need it intuitively, or B, because you have no idea and you feel like better safe than sorry. But sometimes, I know that most of my essentials are fine, and so I'll just check the flaps on my creative rings and be like, ooh, that was nice. And then I'll do some kind of fun, like I'll just work on my shoulders for a while, or, whatever intuitively you feel like you want to do. It's just, freestyling is using more intuitive based, and you're customizing it to yourself. But of course, if you need the 4 essentials, it's really good to do them and do them first. But yeah, so I hope that makes sense. Someone says, hi, Janet, thanks for the healing. I'm having some anxiety. Are my angels upset with me? Not at all. No. No. Angels don't get upset. Angels are like, they're just different than people, They just sit there and smile, and they're like, well, she's figuring it out, I mean, angels are like pure love, and wisdom. So it's just different. They don't get frustrated. Yeah. No, your angels are not upset. I think sometimes you have angels, you have beings that are not angels, that are in between you and your angels. And so if you're feeling some being that's like scolding you or whatever, it's not your angel. It's a fake angel is what I would call it. It's just some invasive being pretending, getting in the way. So you can just, imagine your actual angels and then just line up a bunch of fake angels that may be getting in the way and encouraging drama for you, and misdirection or whatever, and just, you can ask your angels to recycle the fake angels. And that's, that can happen to anybody. You just get some invasive beings in the way trying to, I'll get that, like some I'll hear some like warning, and it sounds like too, it's not like loving or anything. It sounds too like trying to spook me. And I'm like, that wasn't an angel. So I'm like, angels, can you recycle that being? Yeah, so it can happen, definitely. I think for you, I think this split off event stuff is a big deal. It is for everybody technically, but I think there's stuff on your path like incoming energy. You know, when we did the split off events today, there's incoming energy and then there's inner baggage. And I think you have cleared a lot of inner baggage in the last like 8 months in particular. Um, but then there's stuff that was incoming energy as part of all of these split off events. Not all, but you know, like different ones in this life and past lives. And some of that is still there. And so the more present you get, the more you feel that stuff that is not there. I mean, that is not you. That is there, you know. So think of like, you know, if you like refrigerator, imagining them like refrigerators or boxes or dumpsters, whatever, but all that incoming energy that caused different split off events in this life and past lives. And again, it's just whatever's healthy and gentle to do right now, but you know, just clear more of that. Because I think the part of the real like intense displeasure that you've been feeling, part of it's because your creative rigs were like blown to smithereens in the last 2 days. I mean, they got healed in the healing, but then like within like 2 hours after that, they were like, so like they were like 60% there, but like the whole back 40% was blown up. So that caused a lot of, I think, extremeness in your reaction. But then part of it was too, like as you come back and you bring more energy back that was split off in past lives, you're aware of some energy here. But even, you know, as you've been getting more present in the last 8 months or so, you would think the anxiety would go away, but there's still more of that energy that caused these split up events, that, you know, the incoming energy. So long story short, just keep clearing refrigerators of energy that's not yours that came in during split off events from this life and past life. Just clear more refrigerators. Because the idea is you want to feel good. Obviously, you want to feel stable, wise, good, comforted, all that stuff, right? So it just seems like there's stuff that is really unpleasant in your space. You know, it's not so much external situations. Like your mind will make it about, you know, the job or this project or that project or this person. But just try to realize that if it affects you this much, it's not the external stuff. It is internal stuff. Not that external stuff isn't a problem or an issue or whatever, but if it rattles you that much, something within you is going on, you know, and that stuff you have control over, you can address it, right? So just clear more refrigerators of incoming energy from past split off events. Just keep getting rid of it so you can feel more at peace now. And also just look at, okay, how much red earth energy comes up your legs into your first chakra and your Kundalini chakra, because it looks like about halfway up your thighs, there's like, it has to detour and come out of your legs and into your first chakra and your Kundalini chakra, so you're not getting enough. So like just check out like your leg channels in your upper thighs and maybe do like sticky gold wax or your gold bottle brush, whatever amuses you, just to clear this out better so you get more red earth energy actually going into your first chakra. Because right now there's no chakra damage for your first chakra or your Kundalini chakra, but it's like it just is kind of muddy and dammed up and it's not getting enough red earth energy. So that, you know, makes you, it's like, something's wrong there. You know, that's how you feel anxiety and fear is you're not getting enough earth energy, red earth energy in there to calm it and soothe it. Also, I think you have a cord from like 3 people, not the 2 usual suspects within your family, genetic family, but like people related to, like 3 different people related to that work idea project. The guy that you were working with, and then 2 other people related to, you know, the decision process and whatever, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So there are 3 people cording the front of your first chakra. I think they mean well, they're trying to comfort you, but that's further blocking up your first chakra. So melt the cords going into your first chakra. And they're not trying to hide it. You know, they're not courting you in the back of your first chakra, they're courting you right in front. They're just trying to calm you down and soothe you, but it's totally not working. It's not your spouse. He's like, I know better. Anyway, so I hope that helps. So melt cords, work your leg channels so you get more earth energy into your first chakra and your kundalini chakra. Just imagine how much red earth energy gets to go all the way through your legs, all the way up into your first chakra and your kundalini chakra. Yeah. Okay, hope that helps. And if things take a turn for the more dramatic again, check your creative rings. And also check your fourth chakra and take the elevator up and view from your sixth, not your fourth. Because if your fourth is stuck and you're viewing from there, whoa, life is horrible. So you don't want that. Okay, hope that helps. Someone says, hi Janet, what can I work on to get deeper into the detailed reading of myself and even slightly read some of scattered events high and learn from them? Sometimes if your clarity isn't the greatest at the moment, you could do multiple choice. Make it a game. If you want to like read a scattering event, like a past life scattering event, just be like, okay, well, I mean, there are probably a lot of them that you could read, read one that you're totally over. That would be the easiest one to start with. Read, just think, okay, of past life split off events, one that I totally healed from and I'm okay from, that'll be easier to see or intuit and feel, because you won't still be wounded over it, right? So, and then just think, well, okay, I want to view one from when I was female and that happened like in the first half of my life, and then just be like, oh, well, maybe it was related to a strict father, and maybe, maybe I like, he wouldn't let me go out somewhere, and so it just sort of can kind of come to you like that. But maybe just think of it more as like a feeling thing, like a story that's coming to you in your mind versus like you see the movie. If that's not, because reading is, I would say, ideal reading is the harmony of all those abilities. So, sometimes it's intuitively coming to you, sometimes you kind of hear it, sometimes you see it. But if you have to do some multiple choice to start things off, or even the whole way, that's okay too. So I don't know if that helps, but hopefully it gives you some idea of how to work it. And again, you can work this stuff without the detailed read, even though I know that's fun. All right. And then you could read one that you're not over yet, and see how different that feels. Read a past life split off event that you're not over yet. And that could be more challenging to read, so I wouldn't start with that. Okay, hope that helps. So it says, feeling super mellow post-healing, more than I have in a while. That's nice. Loved healing these scattered parts. Felt those come in gently. Oh, good. How's my husband doing? You mentioned his initials. Thank you. He seems a lot better now that he's in therapy. Well, I mean, there's some things you already know about him, so I won't bother validating those things. But one thing I noticed that your angels are pointing out is like you have this way of sort of standing in front of him and watching him. It's like a little bit too like small table communications, and it makes him a little bit, it makes him clear less quickly when he feels like you're watching him. So it's like he's moving forward on his path, and then you kind of stand like just outside his path, but you're like, oh, good job, keep going, and it's like it's a little bit of like a stage mom kind of a feel, and I think it complicates your relationship, and it also makes him grow a little more slowly because then he feels self-conscious, and it triggers sort of resistance, so you could intuit how he's doing, but try not to like have a front seat and watch it like you're on bleachers, because with him he doesn't really like that. I think sometimes with you like when he's on the bleachers cheering you on, but he's different and he doesn't like that. So he likes more of like a classic guy thing of like, hey, good job, and then you kind of ignore him. That way, so it's not like he doesn't like a good job kind of vibe, but it's like very distant and very brief, like momentary, like, hey, good job, you rock. And then like you do your thing, he does his thing, then he grows like twice as fast that way. So I hope that helps. And I'm glad the mellow post healing, that's nice. Yeah, I think this split off event stuff is why. Also the 2 big blocks. It's a big one. Someone says, thanks, Janet. Fell asleep from chakra repair through shame. Feel a lot better. Think the 4th chakra, 4th layer was needed. Was feeling bummed out, irritated. How can I stop subconsciously whacking when not even aware? Well, that's a big question, isn't it? I don't think there's a perfect way to do it, I think sometimes, you can ask your angels, angels, please block my whacks so that I don't whack people. But it doesn't mean that they'll do that all the time, though, because sometimes it's for your learning, and you need to realize that you have some repressed anger that you need to clear, or you have some judgment you need to clear. So you could look at like what in general provokes you to whack somebody, and typically it'll be a bunch of blocked energy, or a bunch of trauma, or a bunch of inner wounds that just put you in that mind space subconsciously where you're like, So self-healing, targeted self-healing is what you could do. Also asking your angels, but that's not enough. But also just double check now and then, especially if you feel that somebody is being very guarded with you, and that there's been a major shift between the two of you. Double check. Did you whack the heck out of him? Because sometimes that's what's going on, especially because you and other people that I work with and that are avid learners of this stuff, you can be very self-healing. So maybe you whacked him and he whacked you just as much, but you've already healed like 80% of it, and he hasn't, because he's not good at self-healing at all. And so he has all the chakra damage and all the aura damage that you caused, and you healed 90% of what he's caused. So you feel fine, and you're like, what's his deal? So that's a thing too, to just kind of notice, like, it's going to affect others. It's going to impact someone who doesn't know how to heal more, obviously. So, you can just remind them, hey, your angels can help you heal. But yeah, I would just say targeted healing of whatever baggage got triggered to put you in that headspace subconsciously, that you struck out at somebody. Because obviously it's not good karma for you to do that. And it complicates situations unnecessarily. So I hope that makes sense. But again, clear shame around it. It's like if you make it seem like now you're Satan, you're not going to want to be aware of it. It's going to make it harder to work on it. You're not Satan. It's just a very common occurrence. And of course you want it to be way less common, and that's possible. It is good to have that goal, and you can work towards that over time so that it's extremely rare that you would do it. You have to work on it for a while. But just assuming, hey, I have good intentions, I'm a kind person, I can't possibly be whacking someone, that's not going to work. Alrighty. Someone says, you're saying your name. Today I feel more optimistic post healing. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. So then you might, use your intuition as maybe after the healing summary is available and be like, okay, why do I feel so positive? Like, say you still feel positive tomorrow. You can go through the healing summary and be like, what do I need to repeat to keep this feeling going? And of course, it could be the fourth chakra, fourth layer work we did, but also the whole last half hour where we did the split off events work. Bringing that energy back that has split off in the past, getting rid of all the junk that made you split off, and healing those little mini parts of you so they come back happier. that can be a big reason why you might have a deeper sense of wholeness, maybe. Okay, so this is thank you so much for the healing. Yes, I finished a whole work project while listening. I almost avoided it by skipping to another desk, but stopped myself. There you go. Yeah, you heard your angels there. My creative rings feel more at ease. That's nice. Do the creative rings also unblock my gold wings? You're talking about manifestation wings behind you. No, that's different. I mean, they both generate gold light. Your creative rings, they generate a lot of gold light, so that could, initiate other healing. So with all that extra gold light coming down, that can initiate more healing in all your major chakras, and it could initiate, more unblocking. Technically, yeah, it could help to unblock your manifestation wings or wash them off with gold light. It's possible. But it could be too just that the split off events, working that woke up your manifestation wings more. I would say that's probably more likely, that working the split off events was so awakening that there's more of you here, and so you just naturally kind of unfurled your manifestation wings and you're like, wow, I feel powerful. Because far off parts of you got healed and came back, and you got rid of all the junk that made you split off. So that's probably why your manifestation wings are feeling better, even though we didn't directly heal them. If anyone, you could search Janet Wright manifestation wings. For those of you that don't know, I have different videos on manifestation wings. Okay, they are nice. They're little powerhouses. They generate a lot of gold light in the back of your aura. Okay. So it says, I feel extra sensitive and like I'm sandwiched in pain today. Am I just becoming more present, or is it fresh damage? Thank you for the healing, Janet. So this, I would think it's pretty late in the day for you, this healing. So you're talking about what happened pre-healing, I would think. Yeah, I think a little bit of from your mom. She's interesting. I was hoping, she was one of the people that I looked at designing when I was talking about the side road stuff, because I think part of her intensity, like that negative intensity that she gets, is because she's missing parts of her, and it creates this deep dissatisfaction, and her mind wants to make it somebody else's fault, and blame you and blame anyone around her. So, let me look at her for a sec. Yeah, what I suggested with her, she said that she feels really sad. She feels like her life has no meaning, like she wasted her life. And, kids are a big deal, having a kid. And it seems like that's why she's intense on you guys, because she kind of feels like, well, I have no life and it's your fault, because I was a mom and now I'm a grandma and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, part of this is subconscious probably, but she may also consciously say stuff like that. But what I asked her is, I said, well, let your angels help you move forward on your path. You do still have a path, even though you think your whole life is useless. That's not true. Part of you is on your path. And so just let your angels hold your hands and let your angels walk you forward on your path. Because she gets really disoriented by the intensity of her feelings. Um, and then she stops working with her angels. So when she's that intense, she's not working with her angels. So just showing her her hands, and that she can let her angels hold her hands, and her angels can hold both hands and guide her forward. At least right now, that seems to help. So you could try to do that. I know that sometimes you say talking to her makes no difference, but this might be specific enough. You know, let your angels hold your hands, let your angels guide you forward on your path. That might be concrete enough that, just as a suggestion, don't like brainwash her with it, stay present, just have it be a suggestion. But she seems to like that. But yeah, so there's still some hard energy that she kind of shoved in your space. The aura repair is all fixed and the chakra repair is all fixed now from it, but there's still like a big hard piece of energy in the front right there. That's all that sandwich feeling that you have. And then there's one right here too. The back, there's a little bit in the back too. It's just, she just jammed a whole bunch of hard stuff in your space that you're feeling like sandwich bread around you. So just notice there's probably like 4 different blocks, big blocks though, from your mom. Like kind of like she threw a whole door at you, like 6 times, of hard energy. Um, so anyway, she is going to keep working on this with her angels, and so it would be interesting to know if her intensity diminishes at all, or goes down at all, that negative intensity, because I was hoping that this technique of working the split off events would help her with that. But we'll see. All right. Someone says, hi, Janet. Thank you. How am I doing? My in-laws, and you mentioned their initials. Thank you. That helps. Have both been in my space. That is accurate. Any suggestions from angels? Yeah, I don't know if there's been any conscious. There probably hasn't been, but it seems like the reason that they're in your space, what's motivating them the most, is you and your spouse, at least on a spirit level, seem to be discussing divorce. Not like as a hard and fast plan, but like you're throwing the idea around, you're clearing energy about it. It looks pretty good the way you're communicating on the astral about it with you and your husband and the angels. Your angels are always present. It's always just about clearing energy and helping each of you to live your best lives and helping you guys to be your best parents, the best parents you can be. And so, but I think it's really triggering your husband's parents because they seem to be, like really rigid and judgy about that anyone would contemplate divorce when, it's like, grandparents, they get very like, those are my grandparents. Those are, my grandson, my granddaughter, you need to stay together. No, no, no. So it seems to be about that. Uh, you could use healing flowers, healing message flowers, and just communicate what you need to communicate. Like, hey, we're trying to be the best. The happier we are, the better parents we're going to be. We need to model and live happiness to best, raise happy kids. So, something like that, to just remind them that it's coming from a good place. Like you really want your kids to be as healthy as possible, and you can't do that if you guys are, you know, torturing each other, you know. So one way or another, you got to stop torturing each other, and that's what you're working on, you know. So just kind of, you know, put that in healing energy flowers, and your angels can edit it so that it comes out right, so that it comes out in a way that they can understand telepathically, and you just lay it at a respectful distance in front of each of your in-laws, and just say, here you go, if you want, these are healing flowers, the angels check them, and then, you know, they'll probably take them, and that could help. You may have to remind them maybe every day for a while. But yeah, it seems like that'll help them process. So I hope that makes sense. But you are accurate that they have been in your space. What they do is they cord your blocked energy and they cord your inner wounds. So you could also do that. You could look at, okay, what are the energy blocks that my in-laws are cording, and just blow them up. You know, blow up your blocks so they're not there anymore to cord. And any inner wounds that your in-laws are any inner wounds your in-laws are cording, just heal them so they're not there anymore for them to cord. You know, so that you could use it sort of as a motivation for you to clear your stuff, you know, because they can only cord your junk. And so if you work on your junk, then it's a lot harder for them to find a real good spot. So if that makes sense. And if you have follow-up questions, feel free to post under a video. You know, work on it for a bit, but you could post under a video follow-up question if you have one. Someone says, I feel much better today and now as well after the healing. That's good to know. Today I felt like I had an alarm in my head reminding me to ground each time. Wonderful. Yeah, that's your angels. But that's wonderful that you were that aware of their little reminders. That helped me to release. Yeah. Yeah, unblocking your grounding, it's like so simple, but it really helps. You know, like yesterday when I was gardening, you know, a couple times, I just, you know, realigned my energy, like, you know, made sure my chakras were aligned, my grounding was okay. And, you know, because it's like then as you're doing other things, you're still processing and clearing if you're centered enough, you know. So not like you have to do that every moment of your life, but, you know, when you know you have something bigger that you're processing, you know, like me, I knew I was planning the next healing. So that's kind of a bigger thing. So I didn't, you know, consciously focus on it all day. I gardened for a bunch of the day, but I wanted my energy to be centered enough so that I'm working on it subconsciously as I garden. So, you know, if you're a mom or whatever, there are a lot of activities that you're doing. And so if you do little recentering, then you can sort of do two things at once. You know, you're helping your kids or your pets or whatever, or you're doing a job, but you're also, you know, moving forward spiritually. That's why if you have some intense dislike, that can get in the way of things. Like, so if you intensely dislike your job or you intensely dislike putting your kids to bed, try to center yourself enough before then, you know, say an hour before you put your kids to bed, or, you know, even just for a minute, or, you know, an hour before you go to work or at lunchtime at work. Try to recenter yourself, because if you're feeling intense dislike, a lot of times that's an inner blockage, or several. And so you're not clearing and you're not moving forward as fast as if you know, address whatever makes you intensely, you know, feel like, you know, clear so that you can, you know, be doing something and also process efficiently at the same time, if you want. It's a way to speed your growth. But anyway, and then you say, and right now I feel much more optimistic about all major stuff in my life. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's fourth chakra, fourth layer, and also seventh, eighth connection. So those are two things that we did towards the end. Very quick things, right next to each other. Well, actually 3 things that we did next to each other. The clear shame, the unblocked fourth chakra, fourth layer, and the unblocked seventh, eighth connection. 3 things towards the end. That section is like 13 minutes. Okay, glad it helped. Someone says clear. Thank you, Janet. I'll keep working on it. Oh, good. So you understood the feedback that I had. Someone says, thank you for the healing. How did I do? Have been feeling a bit irritable, but it might be courting from my friend who called or my teenage son who came home. Yes, life happens at the same time as these healings. Your angels, they give me both thumbs up. You did very well in the healing. They would like you to consider redoing, the big new stuff from this healing, which is the split off events, working the split off events, which is like the last half hour basically of the healing. I'll timestamp link it, but it'll say split off events explaining and then split off events doing. And the whole split off events doing section, it'll probably have subsections, but the whole doing is probably like 25 minutes or so, something like that, 26 minutes. So they would love for you to redo that if you could find the motivation to do it. It doesn't have to be today. I mean, it could be tomorrow or the next day or whenever you have time. And you can say too to yourself, I want to, I'm going to let my angels help me keep working on this. If I need it, I'm going to let my angels keep helping me with this. I don't think you're having issues with the friend who called as far as boundary issues. Your teenage son, yeah, I think he plugs into the back of your third, second, and first chakras and your grounding. And that's enough to make someone irritable. He chords the back of third, second, and first and your grounding. So I don't know if, someone that's chording the back, they kind of are not being in your face about it, so it could be that, he doesn't want you to tell him, he doesn't want you to watch him doing homework, or he doesn't, he's trying to somehow manipulate you. Doesn't mean he's Satan or anything, sometimes there can be pretty unclean dynamics between parents and kids, but it's good to be aware of so that you can, because if you let him continue to manipulate you, then he might display those habits in the future with coworkers, with bosses, with future girlfriends or wives or whatever partner he has. So it's better to not allow your son to manipulate you. You don't have to say anything consciously, but just melt his cords. He's also courting your seventh chakra actually too. So 7 and 3, 2, 1, and your grounding. So you just imagine a blob for you, a blob for your son, and melt all the cords. Don't touch him, but just gold light, gold fire, whatever you want, and just melt all the cords from your son, while you're at it, from your spouse, from friends, everybody, but especially your son, just so that, everything functions properly in your space. And then you can just kind of, say hi to him on a spirit level and be like, hey, I need my breathing room just like you need your breathing room. And I think that would be enough for him to be like, all right, yeah, I better cut it out. So I hope that helps. All right. Someone says, oh man, you hit the nail on the head about parents and spouse courting inner wounds and me courting back, blowing my mind. As always, Janet, thank you so much. I'll be working on this. You're welcome. Someone says, thanks for the healing. I feel a high anxiety anticipation feeling today related to the breakup, like my ex is going to contact me or some conflict is going to happen. Thought on how to clear this. Yeah, I don't think that's actual intuition. That's a thing you can always check. Like, is this real intuition or just a bunch of baggage or a bunch of beings or something like that? And it looks like it's B, a bunch of baggage or a bunch of beings or all of the above, So it's not accurate premonition. So then you look at, okay, well, is he courting me? Is someone in his family courting me? Because it does look like he has a bit of a helicopter mom on a spirit level. So even if she's not consciously aware of your breakup, it looks like she's sort of whirring around his face like a helicopter, and then she's sort of like throwing energy at you, like sort of like mini little whacks, like little blasts of energy and handing, like dumping judgments in your space. So just, just wash her out. And you can just say, hey, go talk to your angels. Ask your angels about me and your son. And ask your angels what they think about this breakup. Because a lot of times people, if they get stuck, they're not really realizing some sort of higher purpose and some deeper meaning. And so they don't know, they think, oh, this is a terrible event and she's terrible and she shouldn't have done this and blah, 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 blah. They get caught up in this judgment. So, yeah, just remind her to ask her angels about the breakup and what her angels say about it. Because that should calm her right down. Get her out of your space. But yeah, I think it's just her. And then I think you do have a couple past life breakups that were very dramatic, that you're a little bit triggered by. Has nothing to do with that guy or his mom in specifically. It's just like messy past life breakups. There are some cultures that you've lived in where, even if you're the guy, a breakup gets really dramatic, with extended family and fighting, and it becomes like a family vendetta, one family versus another now, or, you know what I mean? Like, so I think you just have some dramatic breakup past lives. So just like heal inner wounds from those dramatic breakup past lives and clear out blocked energy and dumped energy from those dramatic past lives, dramatic past life breakups. But yeah, I think maybe 70% of it is his mom, and then the other 30% is past life baggage of yours about breakups and past life energy that's been dumped on you from past life breakups. So I hope that makes sense. Someone says, what a concept. I get distracted and go on so many side paths all the time. Is there any hope for me with these techniques? Yes, there is hope for you. You're not hopeless. Oh my goodness. Yeah, if you think that you're hopeless, work on your fourth chakra and your fourth layer. Because that is, when your fourth chakra is working fine, then you don't think like that. You don't think, oh, I'm so hopeless. I'm so messed up. This is all I do. So unblock your fourth a little more, and your fourth chakra rivers and your fourth layers, because of course you're not hopeless at all. I mean, you've transformed so much in the last, like, my God, what, like 10 years? Especially the last, like, 6 years. Yeah, so the thing is, awareness is important. Awareness is a part of wisdom. It's like the more you know you don't know, that kind of thing. Like the more you know, the more you realize, like, holy moly, I go on side roads all the time. And you can, work on it. Do the split off events working, and then, yes, it is workable. You can do it less and less. It is actual techniques that can work for even you. You are not immune to it happens for the same reasons it happens to other people, and therefore you can work on it just like everyone else can. Someone says, which chakra can I heal to help my sinuses, which feel slightly clogged and the sinus feel dry and I see little bits of blood at times? Well, that sounds dramatic. I would say more meridians than chakras, the minor chakras rather than the major chakras. So you could Google, which meridians have to do with sinuses, and there could be specific points in specific meridians. So that stuff is pretty cool, very cool. So yeah, I would Google, which TCM meridians, traditional Chinese medicine meridians, help with sinus issues. And then you could work the specific meridians, heal them, get the flow going, repair the chakras if needed. But yeah. Someone says, LOL, I'm 100% a stage mom with your spouse. Thank you. And angels for the wake up call. Yeah. Yeah. Some people don't mind that whole park bench encouragement thing, but other people, it's very unnerving for them. And some people, it's just like, they want a little bit of it, but then that's it, so it's sort of an intuition thing to see which different people like and don't like. Someone says, thank you. I haven't thought about them in a while. Manifestation wings. Yeah, they're cool. Someone says, thank you for your answer, Janet. Is this why when I remind my mom that throwing energy is not a good idea, she doesn't seem to care much? I mean, if she's overwhelmed that much. Yeah, I mean, she has deep pain and she doesn't know what to do about it. And so that's why she gets violent when she does. Like, violent meaning verbally or emotionally, like that kind of thing. Yeah, it's like her inner battle is then what she projects out into her relationships with her family members. So it's really an inner battle that she's waging and she doesn't know what to do about it. And so it spills over into her relationships. So that's why, yeah, a really concrete, simple suggestion where, she can let her angels hold her hands and help her go forward. Because even if you're really dazed and confused, that's something doable. Like, okay, angels, hold my hands. Angels, help me to move forward on my path in my life. And, so yeah, keeping it very simple would be best with her. Someone says, I've always wondered about past lives triggering nighttime anxiety of being alone in the house after dark. Seems past lifey. Yes, does seem past lifey. Yeah, so you can do split off events work with that. You can, just to the extent that's healthy and gentle, work the split off events related to that nighttime fear. Over time, the more you work that, the more then those old situations won't affect you anymore. So cool. You guys are awesome. It's time for me to go. So this concludes all the healings for May 2023 as far as me doing group healings. Of course, you can heal yourself as much as you want. And that's the whole point, is to teach you a bunch of fun, cool, interesting new techniques that might tickle your fancy and inspire you if you wish to use them on yourself. And the next set of group healings is the June triplet set, which starts June 2nd, 4th, and 6th. And that whole schedule is on my website, janetwrightreadings.com. And for the last minute, I will show you my dogs, which thankfully are very peaceful and quiet right now. And that's through the wonders of medication. Really, for both of them. They both are right now on allergy medication, and then Abel's also, he gets a very small amount of THC drops, and he gets an anti-seizure medication. He's been through a lot in his life. So now we finally found the right blend so that he can be more peaceful more often. So this dog far away that is right now out of focus is Izzy, and this dog right here is Abel. And I also have two cats. Oh, far off there on top of that carrier in the distance right there, that is, I think, Smokey. He's an all black male cat that we have. And then Zen is somewhere else. I don't know where. Sleeping. All right, you guys are amazing. So I hope you have a good day, evening, whatever's next for you. Bye. Good for you, for healing.